Yo, 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 what is good? It is Bo King. I am hyped to bring you guys the best out, decked out, goaded build of a lifetime. I spent the entire season crafting this build. This is not a build you're going to see anywhere on any website with anybody else running. I completely disregarded what every single meta person thinks says blah, 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 blah. I found what works. I found crazy cool perk combinations. It's not your boring slash con enchanted ward running around with featherweight and 200 con with a bolt caster. That's just boring. That's so boring. These builds nowadays are so boring, man. I tell you. So this build that I have made is the most fun I've ever had playing this game. Compared to any other bow build I've ran, any other combo. It truly is a blast. I'm laughing my ass off when I'm playing this build. Not only is it an absolutely dominating build, I can show you that it's extremely dominating because on the servers, take a look at the leaderboards, kind of just rock solid domination. Can't even dispute it. You could say I'm not a team player. Rock solid domination once again in the assists. Not even close. We're the best team player too, bro. The build's goated. I'm telling you, this build's goated. This is not your war build. I know there'll be all the people zerging in the chat saying, "Oh my gosh, this is not bro. This is not how you're gonna win wars." We're not worried about that, bro. This is your duelist 1v1, 3v3s. This is your average player experience for PvP. This is not your 50v50 Zerg. This is not anything like that is focused on, that play style. Granted, this build does fantastic in wars too. It is not probably as tanky as you want to be. You definitely would want to be tankier for war. But again, this is for your bow player that's in the free for all zone. You're running 3v3s. This build is destructive. It is disgusting. It I can't tell you how many people message me saying, "How are you so fast, Bo King? What is the build?" Bro, I'm giving it to you. I'm telling you, I'm giving you the secrets. I'm going to show you why I'm so fast, man. We're going to start off simple. We will start with the attributes. I'm going to kind of go through this quickly so that I don't waste too much time on simple stuff and can focus more in on the bow. 100 strength, 10% physical damage. I do not split my bow with an element. I am purely thrust damage. That is a direct buff. That is a direct buff. That is a direct buff. Moving on. Dexterity, this is your dump. You throw everything in dexterity, making sure that you can get to 350. Obviously, if you don't have all of the gear, you probably won't be able to hit all of these thresholds, but you can definitely just not run 25 intelligence or not run 25 focus. I would say probably if you have to sacrifice, go ahead and sacrifice intelligence so that you can meet these other thresholds because they're much more important. But again, skill dump and dexterity, that's just where you're going to make sure you get to that 350. 25 intel is the 5% increase to random critical hits, which are going to be defined as your crits that are not headshots or crits that are guaranteed through some sort of means. So very good increase of damage there. That's just a flat buff. I am running a crit build on the bow, so I'm critting left, right, and center. So again, that 5% damage buff for indexing 20 points, totally worth it and super beneficial. 25 focus. We out here trying to catch larger fish. You know what it is. Got to get them big ones. So run that 25 focus. Uh, Obviously, you're running it for that CDR. That's a perk that you can get on gear. Being able to index into something 20 points to get something that's technically even better because it's 5% compared to 4%. Definitely a cool thing to do. I always try and think of perks as how I can get the unique perk combinations. And so, for example, when there's something I can index into for 20 points on a attribute tree, I would much rather have a perk on my gear that's significantly cooler and gives me a way better buff than something that I can just lightly index into. So, always a good way to look and think about things when you can fit other stuff in a slot that's replaceable than substitute that for something that you can only put on X piece of gear. Like, you don't want to run refreshing on your jewelry piece because you can get refreshing in your attribute tree and on your regular gear, and there's so many perks on jewelry that's specifically unique to jewelry. So just an example to hopefully help you guys think of how you're running your stuff and just make you think a little bit more so that you're not wasting any perks and attribute points, things like that. And then last con, 102, so that you can pop that con food and get to 150. And yeah, that is going to wrap that up as far as attributes go. Leave that there for like 1 second. Last look, 100, 357, 25, 25, 102. Cool. Moving on from that, I say we check out the gear set next. This is, again, something that I did work on all season. It took a very long time to grind all this out. The, Farood servers aren't like the main servers. Like, I had to go out and grind hundreds and hundreds of prismatics, and it took so long. But by the end of the season, we have managed to get to the point where I have everything that I want. Outside of one piece, which I will mention and kind of go over what I would switch in terms of that. But we are working with the best that we got, and outside of that one piece, this is what we have. So, starting from the beginning, in general, this is a highly aggressive, fully focused on crits and haste bow build. All of the rune glass is going to be sighted rune glass on the armor, so directly buffing ranged attack damage, and all of the gems in my gear are opals, with one exception being a ruby. Absolutely no melee resistance in the gear there, purely elemental, and obviously fire is the most prominent, so that's the one that I'm going to just index a little bit into, because I felt like, you see a fire staff every 3v3, you see a fire staff everywhere you go, so never wrong to throw in a ruby there. So, going back to the gear, we'll go head to toe, start with that Gorgonite hat. As I mentioned, sighted rune glass with the opal, so 1% damage on range, 2% elemental absorption. Perks-wise, energizing evade shot. So obviously, we'll go more into the evade shot stuff when we go into the actual bow build, so not going to talk about that right now. But running vigor and hasted vigor. And obviously, as you can see, there's a bit of a, spoiler there. 2 vigors and 3 out of 3 hasted vigors. Definitely, I ended up indexing heavy into dot mitigation because so many times I was finding that was what I was dying to. I was outplaying the situation, I was making the space, I was getting away, and then whether it's from a Burninator flamethrower or it's from keenly jagged on some musket or a bow rain of arrows, the ticks ended up kind of being that one thing that I kept catching myself dying to with this build. And as anybody knows, when you run away and you're sitting behind a wall staring at a rock and you're just watching your health tick, 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 nothing you can do. If you don't have a potion up, you can't, but it is what it is. So that was one thing I couldn't outplay, and all of the damage that I'm taking with this build is basically fire staffs, bows, and muskets. It's basically just the range rules. I can keep the melees off me, I can make space, I can get the haste and get out, keep the gap on them. That's not the difficulty. The difficulty is dealing with range people that, doesn't matter if you're fast. Well, to a degree it does. It does help you dodge a lot. But still just getting hit with those shots and ticks was something that I found as a weakness here. So I indexed into it, and man, I cannot explain how well it paid off. And looking at dots from a fire staff getting ticked for like 60 damage on a fireball, the mitigation is very, very nice. And then obviously on top of that, the 30% haste that I get when Hasted Vigor gets procced is ridiculous. So phenomenal perks. Carrying on. Chess piece. This is the piece that I would switch if I could, but I can't run worm because I'm not good enough. So hopefully when I get over to Aquarius, I'll be able to get a worm out, because I really want that chess piece that has keen and shirking energy on it. And then I would put slowing tether on that chess piece, and I would get rid of enchanted ward, and I would get rid of that refreshing, so that I could get keen and shirking energy on the chess piece, because I have shirking energy on my pants, but I could then substitute off of the pants and obviously throw in another perk on the pants that's beneficial, whether I want to throw refreshing on there, enchanted ward, whatever it is. I can throw something else, just ping pong it back down to the pants and do that. So working with what I have, it's a super nice hoplite shirt. I can't complain about refreshing and enchanted ward. Definitely nice perks to have. But again, if I could wave a magic wand, I would change that shit. But I don't have a magic wand, so we're waiting for that worm run. Anyways, Same setup as everything. Opal, ranged rune glass, and then as I said, slowing tether, enchanted wood, refreshing. Slowing tether is 100% necessary. When you're running the Void Gauntlet in this build, it is absolutely massive. I don't want it on my weapon, but I want it on my gear because the time doesn't get increased by putting it on your weapon. You still get Disintegrate without it being on your weapon, and it's a pretty negligible movement speed buff in the sense that like when I hit somebody with slowing tether, bro, it's like they got glue on their shoes. Like they're so slow. And so I just feel like it's overkill to put that on the weapon when it's so effective when it's on the gear. Anyways, moving on. Next piece, an exact copy of that helmet, except for instead of the evade shot, run and penetrating rapid shot. I would say exact same logic follows as before that I just mentioned with slowing tether. That also applies to penetrating rapid shot. Absolutely mandatory. Um, I don't believe it's necessary to put on your weapon, and I do think you're better off. Well, I know you're better off running it on the gear because I sat there and shot with that same bow, having, two different hoplite bows, one with it on the weapon, getting that 35 or 36% pen, and versus one with 22, and then finding what I put on my bow to actually be the higher damage because of the crit build and what I indexed into. Um, it's not trolling at all to put this on your bow. It's super strong on the bow. If you want those rapid shots to hit hard, I don't blame you. I just think people get people get real worked up about armor pen in this game and don't actually take the time to sit there and understand. They think they see the bigger number and think that it's a damage buff when it's an armor pen buff, and don't actually run the numbers, because if you think of it being a 14% difference in armor penetration, I mean, if somebody has 1,000 armor, cool, you're penetrating 140 of it. If you're hitting me with that difference, it's even less. You're penetrating like 120 of that armor, which running the numbers ends up being a difference of like 2 to 300. And so it's not like it's some 14% damage buff when I hit for 5,060 and then I use full pen and I hit for 5,260 versus running, perks that I'm running right now. Those numbers are higher and it was hitting a lot harder. So there's ways to get higher numbers of damage than running that on the bow, but it's not a bad place to start. It still hits really hard. But I'll definitely go into my bow when I get there and go over that. So again, Vigor and Hasted Vigor, elemental absorption, ranged attacks. That's all the exact same, and then just another bow perk instead of the evade shot like we have on the helmet. So these are literally the exact same. They just have the different bow perks on them. So now to the pants. Definitely one of my favorite pieces. A perk that I wanted to index to into this build because of, again, what I was for playing it for thousands of hours and grinding and grinding and grinding, whether it be 3v3s, 1v1s, outnumbered fights, just 5v1s, doing whatever I could to exploit the weaknesses of this build and figure out what I needed to do to make it better, was getting 2 stacks of freedom. I can't tell you how good that shit feels, whether it's sword and shield CC, whether it's spear CCs. There are a great sword when they do the swing up with the. I mean, I can't tell you how many things I just roll right out of with 2 freedoms. It's a perk people sleep on. It's a perk people think are just for heavies or for tanks or for, I don't know, but you don't see light people running freedom. But I'm telling you right now, it's OP to run on these builds because especially when you've comboed it with this haste that's in here, because you become untouchable, man. I mean, I've I've sat there laughing my ass off so hard, all tabbing around, looking behind me, seeing 10 people chasing me and just gapping them like I'm on a mount. I'm telling you, when you are haste capped with hasted vigor, it feels like you are on a mount. I can't lie. Also, this game thinks I'm AFK because I've been doing this build for too long. Anyways, Love this. Freedom, Hasted Vigor, and Shirking Energy. Definitely all must-have perks. Like I said, if I can get that Worm chest piece, Shirking Energy translates to my chest, and I can then throw another Vigor on this piece and make it Freedom, Hasted Vigor, and Vigor, and then I'll have 3 out of 4 of those, and oh man, those dots are just going to be nothing. Absolutely awesome. So that's going to be the plan once I can get that chest piece, is throwing Hasted Vigor, Vigor, Freedom on pants, and then having Slowing Tether, Keen, and Shrinking Energy on the chest piece. Finally, we got the boots. I threw the ruby in there because, it's an artifact. I just wanted it to match red on red. It looks clean. Can't even lie. But fire mages are super annoying, always getting hit by those. And so I definitely just wanted to index a little bit into it because, as literally anybody knows that plays this game, fire staffs kind of hurt. So not bad to index into a ruby. On the tumblers, threw freedom on there. Don't need to go into it. Already explained it. So those are the stock perks. Threw freedom on. There's a ruby with sight glass. It is what it is. We'll bounce over to jewelry. My earring, I am running the Tanglevine. I used to run Healthy Toast, and then I saw that it was just ticking for like 300 each tick on me. And I know it's because I have lower health. It's more beneficial if you have higher health, whatever. Man, I think Fortifying Toast, Refreshing Toast, Nimble is definitely the best combo for this build. The damage I can mitigate by popping Fortifying Toast is so much more beneficial than the puny amount that I get from the Mana Pot healing, because I can still alternate Mana Pot, Regen Pot, Mana Pot, Regen Pot with this and just constantly be procking the Fortifying rather than the Healthy Toast, because the Fortifying Toast is also something that I can utilize on both potions, whereas Healthy Toast is, obviously just limited to the Mana Potion. So regardless, I think Fortifying Toast is an extremely good perk. Refreshing Toast, obviously. Nimble, obviously, bro. We rolling. Next question. Ring. Champion's Ring. If you're looking to do the max amount of damage, I think there's an argument for... I don't think leeching is bad. I think leeching is also a really good perk if you wanted to switch that for invigorated punishment potentially. I could see an argument for it if you wanted more survivability, but man, we are bissed out on damage, man. Invigorated punishment, thrust damage, and hardy. I mean, you do the math. You look at people's bars during a Warman or even 3v3s, they've got 8, 9, 10 buffs on them at a time, man. I'm getting 17% damage. Oh, excuse me, 17.1 damage buff from my ring if somebody's 10 buffed. So definitely recommend the Champion's Ring. Champion's Ring is something you get off the PvP track. I'm not sure if there's like a level requirement, if you have to be like level 100 to unlock it. I think it's level 100, but I'm not sure. The Tanglevine you get from... I was killing a bunch of gorillas at some place. I don't remember, but you can look these up on New World Database and then look up where everything is. For the amulet, Gorgonite amulet, this is another one that I could guarantee so many people would look at and be like, "Oh my gosh, like you're not even running slash protection," or like, "Oh, there's those people." Like we established earlier, this build is on another level. We're not running the standard recommended met. This is unique. This is customized. This is a cool ass build that is, oh man, it's on another level. Alacrity, unimpeded, shirking, and power. The unimpeded is phenomenal. That perk is fantastic. I slept on it for so long. I thought it was useless. I thought it was troll until I opened my eyes and I read it, and then I put it on there, and oh my gosh, you're unstoppable, man. With the 2 freedoms, you have full resistance to slows, which does not mean that you can't get slowed. It just means that your resistance to slowed is maxed. But I tell you, man, you run through one of them ice storms, you get hit with a tether. There's a lot of slows that are in the game, and it is so beneficial to have resistance with a build like this when we're this squishy and we're lacking resistances. Indexing into things like this allow us to get 100% resistance. Know what I'm saying? I don't need that 15. I don't need that 5 because I'm going to be fast enough to where you're not going to touch me and it's going to be in 100% resistance. So not everybody's on this level yet, but I'm hoping that people will open their minds to new types of builds. Moving on, cannon. Love the cannon. There's nothing more fun than the cannon. There's nothing funnier than the cannon besides the monkey heart rune. The monkey heart rune's definitely the funniest, but I definitely love running the cannon. This is so effective. You catch people so off guard. People can be sitting there holding their tower shields with 5k health, and you can just bang! Man, it catches people lacking. You pull that bitch out your pocket. Oof! Gigantic cannon. Just unzip your pocket, pull it out, and deer in headlights. They don't know what to do. Great heart rune to run. Love the cannon. Life Taker. Mentioned earlier that we're not running the Scream. We are running, we're not running the Tether, we're running the Scream. Scream gives you almost absolutely full heal cut when you're landing that, and it's just so OP. It doesn't get better than that. You line that right up, you land your Scream, and then that's how you know you can drop your combo. You know how heal cut they are, whether it's landing it on the healer, calling it out, your whole team can focus that, whether it's on a squishy. I mean, it's just so effective. If you want to run Tether on the weapon, Scream on the gear, I think that you're doing yourself a disservice, and I think it is best to have Scream on the weapon and Slow on the gear. But do what you please. I can't force you, but I'm giving you my knowledge. Anyways, not going to spend too much time on that. Now, drum roll, please, for the climax of the build. The absolute goated bow. Oh my god. Oh my god, look at it. Just look at it. I'm just letting you look at it for a sec. It's chef's kiss. Absolutely flawless. People could say what they want. People can think what they want. The numbers are in, folks. The data, the clips, the videos, the proof is undeniable, man. This bow is wicked, man. I tell you, I heavy attack somebody, evade shot them, and pop a triple rappies, hit 5 out of 5, and every single shot's critting. Every single shot's getting buffed. When I mentioned earlier, there's ways to increase the damage that's higher than running pen shot on the bow. This is what I'm talking about. Forcing those crits, increasing crit damage directly, it hits significantly harder. Once again, you could take my word for it. You could trust the Excel spreadsheets we whipped up, or stick to that old school grandpa meta build that your Peepaw's still running in the Glacial Tarns, But I'm letting you guys know the keen speed, the keen vicious. Oh, it's deadly. It's deadly. Anyways, we got to keep this moving because I don't want this to go for too much longer. So I'm going to run through skill trees really quickly. Void Gauntlet, you run Orb, Tether, and Scream so that you can slow people and stun people. It's like very simple. I'm not going to go into this, but that is what I run. Take what you want. I don't think that I just don't think it matters too much, but it is what it is. I'm not even too worried about the Void Gauntlet. We are on the bow. This is all that matters. Running through this skill tree, it's definitely going to look a bit odd. So I am going to just keep it short. Number one thing that you have to have is evasive tactics. You have to have evasive tactics. In order to get evasive tactics, you have to index into at least a perk on this side of the skill tree. I wish I could just run this. If I could, I would run all of this if I could still get evasive tactics. But you just cannot do that mathematically. So this is what we are running. Evade shot gives me haste when I land that. That's going to be augmented by my alacrity, along with all of my other hastes. You're going to run Archer Speed. You're running Dodge and Weave. You're running Impale to slow them. You have 2 of these haste perks on either side. You have the 3rd haste perk from Evade Shot, granting stamina here, cooldown reduction there, Ren there, slow there, empowered damage there. And we don't put debuffs on people with this build. So if you're running poison shot, rain of arrows, whatever, explosive, AoE, you know, you're not about that single target life, sure, run that. But I have no debuffs to put on you besides disintegrate, and that's not worth indexing into. Next side of the tree, I won't go too into it. I like pen shot better than explosive shot because of 3 reasons. Reason number 1, lower cooldown reduction. Reason number 2, way higher trajectory speed and so I guess preferable trajectory because it fires way faster and has no drop. It's like a sniper shot. Explosive shot fires like a hip fire. It's slow, it's clunky, you know. It's AoE, so you might, it's maybe easier to hit, whatever. Pen shot's nasty. It's got a lower cooldown. It is a much faster travel and direct hit. And then the third reason is that it's cool as shit. It just looks so cool. Just you're good. You pull it up in your bow and you can hear the heavens. You can hear the heavens shine down on. Listen to this. Like, come on. Even the real goat knows, man. Even the real goat knows. All right. So, anyways, back into the tree. Run both perks on this. Hitting people from far away, cool. You're doing more damage. Collating people, cool. Doing more damage. 10% damage if they're far away. 15% damage to people under half. That pairs with the emerald that we're running. I didn't go into that. I'm running an emerald in my bow. I'm sure you saw it. There's an emerald. For obvious reasons, we want to execute people and finish them. Not going to waste any more time. Bow. Anyways, last perks down here. 15% more damage. Gives you that nice just first shot to crack them. I used to run arrow range. I don't know. This is just more damage. And I figured I could get used to not running this and get more damage versus I can't get more damage by running that. So we made the swap over from last time. This is the new way to run. Higher DPS, and of course, we're running that increased crit chance. That's going to feed into our keen speed. That's going to feed into the vicious. That's running into everything. So crit, baby. Triple rappies. You don't got to run these. You're trolling if you run these. Run the ability, no perks, unless you're in PvE. But this is not PvE. There you go. I'm going to leave that there for a second. Take a look at the skill tree. I guess the only other thing is hotbar. Regens, manas, gemstone, oak flesh. Bada bing, bada boom. For 3v3s, we got all our buffs right there. Honing stone, regular food, and desert sunrise. This has been Boking. And this has been the true goated build. The secret's out. The cat is out of the bag. There's nothing left to hide, so I hope that you guys enjoyed and learned something from this video. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.